It's showtime, Mellow. It's showtime. Did you say hi? You want to say hi to everybody, Mellow? Okay. You want to say hi? Want to say hi? You say hi? Hello, everybody, and stuff. I know I'm a couple of seconds late, but it is all good in the neighborhood, right, Mellow? Look at him with that tail. He's a happy dog and stuff. I hope everybody had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving, and I hope you guys can hear and see me okay. I see no one is saying in the chat, hey, I can't hear you. So I think we are good. Just a couple of announcements before I start with today's topic. Okay. As you know, the Gift Miss um series is still ongoing. Isn't that right? I got 2 videos that I still have to do, okay, which I will definitely do that because yeah, they're the 2 next ones. So I have day 9 and 10 that I have to videotape. I already have 11 and 12 done. So we should be good with that. Okay. So yeah, so I am pretty excited about it. So this is my first time that I did the 12 days of Christmas. So I really like the way it came out. You know, I think next year I'll do a little better. I'm going to try to do it more well in advance and stuff like that. But I think you guys are pretty much liking it and stuff. So the gift exchange, okay, we got 65 people that have participated this year. Please remember that gifts go out in the mail no later than December 8th. The reason why I choose December 8th is to make sure that no gifts get lost in the mail and, everybody gets their gifts on time. On, I believe it's the 22nd, that Friday, that we are going to host the Embroidery Happy Hour with everyone showing off their gifts, and everybody can show off what they got. So I'm pretty excited about that one. That's going to be a lot of fun. So, all right. So, I just like to get the announcements out of the way, and I just right now want to talk to you guys about tonight's topic. So tonight, I thought I would talk to you guys, and I'm trying to bring up all the questions and stuff, all of the top questions that I get about embroidery. And boy, do I get a lot. I do get a lot. Folks reach out to me through Messenger, through text, through Facebook, email, and I get a lot of questions, and some of the questions are mostly about the same. So I just really wanted to talk to you guys about some of these questions and even just provide the answers, up front. Okay. So that way you guys know where I'm coming from. So let's talk about the top question. I get this question all the time. Okay. Jeanette, what machine should I get? Okay. So a lot of times you guys ask me that question, and then sometimes I feel like you guys kind of get a little pissed off at me because you're kind of looking for me to like tell you exactly what to do and what to buy. And for those of you guys that have seen my videos in the past where I actually talk about the different types of machines, single needle versus multi-needle machine, I never like to tell people what to buy. And now, one of the things that I have done in those videos is I won't tell you what to buy, but I do tell you what you should be thinking about. What are the type of questions you should be asking yourself as you are reviewing and researching these machines. I'm going to tell you why I don't want to go either way in any type of brand or machine. It's a personal choice. Buying an embroidery machine, whether you are looking at a single needle machine or a multi-needle machine, to me, I look at it as no different as you going and trying to buy a car, okay? Some people like having the color black. Some people like the color white. Some people want the blue. Some people want the red. Some people want all-wheel drive. Some people want front-wheel drive. Some people like the SUV. Some people like the sedan. Some people want a 2-door. It is no different, okay? Embroidery machines are really, they're just like buying a car. Okay, first of all, they're just as expensive as buying a car. Okay, I mean, some of these prices are really up there. You could be spending about good 10, 15, even $20,000 for a machine, okay? But one of the things about these machines is that they all are different and unique in some kind of way. They don't, do they all embroider? Yes, but they do have something about them that's unique that makes them stand out. You really have to do your own research. I would really do you an injustice if I tell you this is the brand that you should go. This is what you should buy. You should just consider this and not anything else because not everybody is the same, okay? And not everybody that does embroidery does it in the same way, okay? Some of us specialize in hats. All they care about is embroidering hats. Others just want to do like leather jackets, heavy coats, book bags. Some people want to go into the clothing industry. Some people want to do accessories. Some people just want to do blankets. And some people are really interested in just embroidering a certain kind of materials. So, depending on what it is that you want to do and what your needs are, that is going to be the machine that you should be looking at. Okay. So you really have to do your own research. You really have to look inside of yourself and ask yourself, okay, what is it that I want to do? What is it that really calls to me? What's going to be my niche? And also not just think about what you want to do today, but where do you see yourself going as well? Okay, because you're going to want to invest in something that is not only going to help you today, but is also going to help you to succeed to get you where you want to be tomorrow. Okay. So that is really like the question that I get so much. I mean, and I've even had people reach out to me and say, looking at this machine, what do you think? And then I know that you guys sometimes get a little mad because I go, yeah, it looks all right. But what do you think? Do you think it's going to meet your needs? Don't worry about what Jeanette thinks, okay? You got to think about you, okay? So, and my whole thing too is sometimes you see that some people they do kind of push a brand. But the thing is it's like no, that brand works for them. And you have to think about what is the car that calls for you? What meets your needs? Okay. And then, it's not just the functionality, too. What about your budget? Are you willing to go broke? Just because you want to get a certain machine because someone else says that it's best to do. There's just so many different things that you have to consider. Okay. So make sure that you guys don't rush into it. That is one thing that I do tell people. Don't rush. Take your time, sit back, just relax, just do the research, do your comparison, crunch your numbers, okay? See what is affordable to you. And this is the other thing, too. Just because you get one machine today doesn't mean that in 2 or 3 years you can't upgrade either, okay? You're not married to it, all right? So you can always upgrade and change to something else if you want to, if you find that this is working for you also. Because I do sometimes feel like, sometimes people they jump into something and then all of a sudden it's kind of like, shoot, what did I do? I just like messed up my budget and all that kind of stuff and everything. So, when people ask me all the time, like what machine I should get, I really don't like to just go ahead and tell people, get this, because there's just so many things that have to be considered. So, I mean, I know you guys don't like that answer. I know it's pretty unpopular, but I'm just trying to be flat out honest, okay? I'm just trying to be flat out honest. I personally am not married to any type of brand or any type of really machine. I have what I have because I thought this was best for me at the time and it works for me still today. Okay. Will I go to another brand if I see something that I feel will be more beneficial for me and I can afford it? Absolutely. Yes, I would. I'm not I'm not have to stick to some kind of brand type of person. I'm all about functionality and capability. Okay. So just, something that I just wanted to share with you guys, because I know that there are a lot of people out there that will sell you anything. Okay. But just take that moment and really do your research. And, in some of the videos where I talked about this, I actually had a lot of questions. I give you guys a lot of questions, a lot of things to think about support, visiting the machine, seeing how it works, and all that kind of stuff and everything. So take your time. I'm sure at the end of the day, you're going to make the right decision for you. And that's what's important. Okay. Now, the other question that I get a lot is people come out and say what thread, what stabilizer, or even what fabric I should use. If you are embroidering on a particular uh, product, forget about the question of fabric, okay? The product is what it is. If you're looking at a book bag and the book bag has some type of canvas on it, well, guess what? You're embroidering on canvas, okay? Then the question shouldn't be what fabric you're using. The question should really be, what type of needle should I be using? What type of stabilizer should I be using? And also the thread and the design. Am I going to be using a dense design? Am I going to use a light design? Should I be using 40 weight thread versus 60 weight thread? Should I be using tearaway stabilizer or cutaway stabilizer? When it comes to what type of thread, stabilizer, needle, weight, and all that kind of stuff, okay? You got to do your homework, okay? That is the one thing about embroidery. It is definitely not about taking something and sticking it into these machines, turning that button on, and then just say, walking away and go, it's going to get done. It doesn't work like that, okay? There is so much that has to be thought about and goes into it before you even press that on button, okay? You have to plan the project. And what ends up happening is a lot of times people don't plan it. And that's when they end up with the messed up stuff. That's when they come out and they take it out of the machine. And the first thing they go is, WTF, what the heck? What happened? It's like, oh my God, it looks terrible. I got puckering, or, that I got skip stitches, and all this other stuff, right? You got to take the time to plan your project. Do your research. There's a reason why embroidery is expensive. I'm going to tell you, it is a luxury product. And another thing also is a lot of times people say, I know on my channel I say sewing and crafts, okay? But in my personal opinion, embroidery is kind of a craft, but in my personal opinion, I feel it's more of a skill. It is a skill set. You got to know what you're doing. This is not something that people can just press that button and it's magic. A lot of planning goes involved in that, a lot of knowledge as well, okay? So, when you are going to work on an embroidery project, make sure that you are taking the time that you need in order for you to study what it is that you plan on doing. You got to make sure that you understand the type of fabric that you are working with, and that you understand the stabilizer, the thread, the needle that you're using, the type of weights of threads that are required. I do have a video on the channel where I worked on it on a logo for the Women's Club Association, and that logo required two different weights of thread, 60 and 40. Okay. It also required two different sizes of needles, the 7511 and the 65-9. Okay. So you have to really know what you're doing. Okay. Now, I don't in any way want to like scare folks that want to learn this, okay? This is not the intention, okay? I am not saying that no one is incapable of doing this. But what I am trying to say is that it's going to take time, and you are going to make a mistake. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. Trust me, done it, been there. I still do it today, okay? But what I'm just wanted you guys to know is that, you know, you have to really do your research, okay? A lot of times, sometimes when people say, hey, I'm just going to use cutaway stabilizer or tearaway stabilizer for everything, you're going to really find out that your stuff isn't going to come out as great as you think. So that is a lot of common questions that I get. Now, to help you with that, oh shoot, I don't have it right here. I think I put it somewhere in there. There is an article. I'm going to type it in the chat, okay? And I believe it's called, and help me out. I know some of you guys that have watched my videos. I think it's called Fabrics 101 and Stabilizers. I'm putting this in the chat. If you guys you know, Google that, you're going to come up with an article. And what the article is going to do, and of course, here I am looking around to see where it is, because this is really something, and I think I have it in the other room. Shoot. Okay. Well, what it is it's an article, and it talks to you about the different types of fabric, the different types of stabilizer that you need, the type of needle, and the weight thread, and so forth. So it's a really, thank you so much, Marlene. Yes, Fabric 101 Stabilizer and Design Guide. If you Google that, Marlene, just put that in the chat. Thank you, Marlene. I appreciate that. If you Google that, it's an excellent article. And what it does is it has like a chart. It has a table, and it lists all of that. That is a great starting point for you to try to figure out this puzzle, okay? Because if you really think about it, that's what it is. It's a puzzle, and you have to try to figure out what is the right tools that you need in order for that embroidery to be successful. So there are lots of different articles out there on the internet. You would be surprised that, you know, that article is one of them. If you also get stuck, right, and you let's say you're embroidering a dense design, and you know the type of fabric that you're doing it, google it. Google it. You will find articles out there that are going to tell you what is the best needle and thread weight and bobbin weight and everything with a particular type of fabric. The other thing that I also advise people to do is test your designs. Always test them. Never take it for granted that you're gonna, you know what you're doing and everything's gonna go smooth. That is something that I see people mess up all the time. Okay, they got the design, they know the stabilizer to use or the needle and stuff like that. They stick it in the machine, they start to embroider, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, I got puckering. Oh my God, the fabric shifted, okay? Because maybe they needed to use no show mesh on it, or maybe they needed to use sticky stabilizer, or maybe they needed to really put that fabric firm inside the hoop, and so, you know, because sometimes fabrics can shift in there, okay? And then next thing you know, they messed up their product, okay? Really, really test your design. And this is the other thing too. If you go and you get a design digitized, right? And don't take for granted, okay? Seriously, don't take for granted that when you get the file back from the digitizer, that it's going to be perfect. Digitizers make mistakes too, okay? They're just as human as I am and you are, okay? Every time I get a file and I get it digitized, and I'm gonna tell you, I have very good digitizers that I work with, and very seldom do they make mistakes, but sometimes they do make mistakes, and sometimes I need to make modifications to the design for the customer. So always test them out. When you buy designs, test them out. I know that sometimes people would be like, "Oh, Jeanette, I don't want to test everything because that uses a lot of thread, and you know, I'm wasting stabilizer and all that stuff." Well, you know what? You can say that, but the moment you put a product in that machine and then you stitch it out and that design didn't come out and it looks all funky and everything, next thing you know, you're gonna be pissed because now you're throwing away a shirt if you can't get the stitch out. Okay, you're gonna be throwing away a shirt. You could be throwing away a hat. You could be throwing away a jacket. You could be ruining one of your customers' products. So I'm just saying, test. Seriously, that is like one of the best habits that you can get into is testing your designs. Okay. That will really solve the question for you guys when you guys are saying what stabilizer, what thread, and all that stuff. When you test it out and then you can see that it comes out perfect exactly how you want it, then you go ahead and you put it on your product. Okay. Sometimes you could test it out and then you could end up finding out, oh, I used the wrong stabilizer, or I used the wrong thread, the wrong weight, or the wrong needle and stuff like that. You gotta test those designs out. Okay. So, something I wanted to do. Okay. So I just want to share that. All right. Here's another question that I get. Hey, how much should I charge for this design? Now I have done I think about like 3 videos on how much you should charge for your embroidery design. Now, charging for embroidery design, there is no solid answer because it depends on what you want to do, okay? And how much profit you want to make. The other thing is also depends on how experienced you are, okay, as well. One of the things that I noticed that a lot of people do, where I'm kind of like, I wouldn't do that, but hey, each his own, right? I noticed that sometimes folks that are very new to this, what they do is they rush out, they buy a machine, and then right away they're like, okay, I'm selling. But there's a problem with that, okay? They never practiced the craft. They never studied it. They never, so what ends up happening as soon as they get that order, they think that they're ready because they got the machine in front of them, but they never practice. And then next thing you know, they're charging the customer. They come on and say, "Okay, this is how much I'm gonna charge." But then what ends up happening is when they start to embroider, it looks crappy, or it doesn't look like a solid stitch. Okay, you got to remember too. It is really, really, really important that you guys really know what you're doing, especially if you're going to start a business, and especially if you're going to start charging people. Okay, and you want people to pay for your service, you better be top notch, because when that embroidery design leaves your shop, that talks about you. You guys have heard me say it in the past, okay? It is talking about you like crazy, all right? And let me tell you, I'm at a point where this is how I run my shop. I will not even do a customer's design if I know it's going to look shady. Even though I know they're okay with it, I'll be like, absolutely not. Because, even like today I have a company. I'm doing their aprons. We're working on their design. We're making some modifications to it. I'm working with Fossil on this as well. And we're going back and forward on the design a little bit. And, one of the things I told her right up front, I said, because she was pretty apologetic, because she was kind of like, I'm taking up a lot of your time, which I'm gonna be honest, I don't mind that. Okay. I love it when customers interact with me because they care about their product. I want to care about their product too, because I do have an invested interest in that. When they walk out of here with that embroidery, okay, that embroidery not only speaks to about them and advertises their company, but it also advertises me as well because I'm the one that created that. Okay. So I do not want them to be walking around with a shady type of embroidery, because I could just see it now. People be like, oh my God, who did that? I don't want my name hooked up to that. So I told her up front, no, I don't care how long it takes. This will be perfect. When it's perfect, that's when I will stitch it out, and that's when you'll be wearing it. Okay. That's when your aprons will be looking okay. All right. So, because that just not only is that going to be speaking about her, I told her it speaks about me too. And customers like that, because what that means is that you take pride in your work, and they like working with people that take pride in their work because they know they're going to get good quality. So when you go back to the question of how much should I charge, think about all this stuff that I'm talking about. Okay. You need to know a lot of things, okay, when it comes to the pricing. Now, first of all, every place is different. Okay. Every state has their own different, price range, right? You have some like California could be very expensive versus Ohio or West Virginia. I'm in Northern Virginia. The cost of certain items are pretty high over here. Take mindset of where it is that you are. Okay. Also, take a mindset of who you're selling to. Okay. You can't just, if you know that, the income level is pretty low where you are, and you say, hey, I'm going to charge you $100 a shirt for embroidery, you're not going to get that. Okay. Because people are going to be like, well, I can't afford that. Okay. So you want to make it affordable. Okay. But at the same time, you want to make it profitable. All right. So for me, I like to do fairness. All right. I like to work with a lot of other small businesses, and a lot of small businesses really don't have a lot of capital. Okay. They're just starting out, they're small. And just like I am, I'm a small business as well. So one of the things that I like to do is what I call is fair pricing. What I like to do is I like to make sure that I can give them an affordable price, that I don't want them feeling like I robbed them, but at the same time, I don't want to be feeling like I got taken advantage of. I make a little money, but I don't have to get rich out of it. Okay. Because the way I look at it is, I just have this thing about greed. So I'm like, sometimes greedy people, in my opinion, they don't go too far. Okay. That's just me. That's just how I think. Everybody's different. Okay. But, I believe in being fair. And I'm going to be honest, that model does work for me because I do have a lot of people, a lot of small businesses that work with me, and they keep coming back because they know that I'm all about not just making a profit for myself, but also I want them to be successful too. Because I actually feel proud when they come to me and they're like, "Oh, I started my business," and stuff like that. And it is a good feeling when you are helping someone else. I really do. I mean, that's the whole reason why I actually start this channel. I remember a girlfriend of mine when I first began the channel, right? One of the things that she said to me, I'll never forget. She came out, she says, "Oh, Jeanette, you're just giving away all the information." And I'm like, no. I'm like, okay, I understand what you're saying by that, and I got that. But the thing is, you're missing it. You're missing what I'm trying to do. My thing is not, I'm not doing this for anything other than just to help other people, right? So I just feel like you put good energy out in the world, and believe me, the good energy will come back. I'm just a true believer of that. And I do the same thing with my pricing. That's how I do it for me. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. Some people like to charge how many stitches. I like to take everything into consideration and then make sure that I'm just charging a fair price where I can make a profit, but at the same time, that other person doesn't feel like they got taken to, taken to the bank or whatever, feel robbed. I don't want anyone to feel robbed. And honestly, very few, I think only in two incidences have I had people challenge my price. And the way I feel about that is, if I'm being fair from the very beginning, and I'm even letting you know that I'm being fair, because I specifically like to explain the process to people, okay, as to what is involved, the time, the amount of thread, the type of material, and the everything that's involved. And I'm telling you how much it's going to cost. And if you want to challenge me on that, that means you're trying to take advantage of me. And then I'm like, I just like, nope, you're not. I'm not a sucker. You're gonna have to find someone else, because I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. I don't like when I see other people taken advantage of, and I sure am not gonna let anybody take advantage of me. Because I tell you, I mean, you you could ask my family, And even my friends, they'll tell you, boy, Jeanette's one of those that she'll speak up. I mean, I'm not a quiet one. So yeah, I mean, even Nancy, because Nancy says, my sister Nancy, she doesn't like confrontations and stuff, but she's like, man, you just like, shoom, you just go right out there, and I'm like, oh, I have no business. It's like I have no problem with that. I'm very unapologetically will defend myself all the time. And even if I see someone else taken advantage of in front of me, you never want to do that in front of me. If I see that you do somebody wrong, I'm the type of person that'll step up and I'll be like, what did you just do? And oh no. Well, anyway, I'm getting off track. Okay, so anyway, the money part, okay? You just gotta make sure that you know what you're doing when you are charging for your items, okay? And this is the other thing too. I have seen other folks also where they charge too little. If you do that, um, it could be a problem, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because what happens is when you charge too low, it becomes an expectation. Then what happens is the customers that you've had in the past, when they come back and you try to up your price a little bit, they're gonna be like, oh, well, you charged me this much before. You know what I'm saying? Just be careful about that. Okay. Be careful. Really think about your pricing and stuff like that. I have a couple of videos on the channel about, things you need to consider and all that kind of stuff and everything. And I've even blabbed about, how I feel about the challenges and all that kind of stuff. All right. So I'm trying to go down because I have quite a list because I get quite a lot of questions about this. This is something else that I want to talk to you guys about too. Okay, let's they say should I even touch my tension? Okay, there have been times when I see on Facebook, and some of you guys may come out and be like, when I say this, but you guys that have watched me for a long time know that I just like to be flat out honest. Okay, there have been times when people say, "Hey, I've been digitizing this, and now I see the bobbin coming up through the top." Right. A lot of that has to do with issues with the tension. It can be that maybe your bobbin case needs to be adjusted or the machine itself. But a lot of times I see some people will make a comment and they'll come on and say, "Oh, don't touch your tension." And I'm thinking to myself, why? Why would you not want to touch your tension? This is a thing that I find a lot. People are afraid of their machines. You need to stop that. I'm telling you right now, you need to stop. You better learn that machine. That is the only way that you're going to excel in embroidery. You better learn tension. You better learn what those knobs mean, what that bobbin case means, okay? When you turn the screw to the left and the right, you better learn, okay? Because that is what's going to help you become more successful. If you think you're going to have that embroidery machine and you're going to run it like a horse, okay, like I run mine, okay, I mean these suckers are on all the time, okay. Now they're shutting off because now I'm back in the office full time, but trust me, when I get off that bus and I come here and I put on my sweatpants and stuff, these machines are back on. And I am telling you, there are a lot of times when I have to adjust the tension. I have to turn those knobs on the top, and sometimes I have to adjust the tension on the bobbin case. A lot of times what happens is I see these comments, don't touch the tension, or don't do this, don't do that. Don't be afraid of your machine. You have to learn it. You have to learn the parts. You have to learn how it works, okay? I mean, when you go and you have your machine maintained, okay, because you should have maintenance run on these machines on an annual basis. Don't drop off your machine and walk away. That's an opportunity. Don't lose that opportunity. And you're paying, okay? You're paying someone to maintain that machine. You need to sit there, honestly, and I'm serious. You need to sit there, pull up a chair, Sit next to that machinist. Let him take the cover off of your machines. Watch him as he vacuums inside that machine. Watch him as he changes your needle threader. Watch him as he fixes your tension. Okay. Watch it when he starts to do the test stitches, and ask the questions. Ask the questions. Watch him when he's oiling your machine, where he's actually putting the oil. Ask him, how often should I be oiling that machine? What is the exact spot that I should be oiling that machine? That is an opportunity for you to really learn that machine. Okay. If you don't learn it, you're not going to improve. Honestly, I am telling you straight out. Okay. When Justin comes here to fix my machines, I don't leave this room. I really don't. I mean, and he knows. Sometimes he's like getting on my nerves, but you know what? I want to learn. Okay? And he kind of appreciates that, because the thing is, I won't have to call him every month when something happens onto the machine. Something happens to my tension, okay? I'll just run a tension test, and I know exactly what I need to do, which what needle, okay, in order to fix that tension. I know what the tension should look like. I know how to fix the tension on my bobbin case, okay? This morning, my needle threader broke on my 10 needle machine. I had absolutely no problem taking the cover off of my 10 needle machine, taking out a new needle threader and changing it out. And now it works perfect. Okay. You got to learn your machine. You got to understand it. You got to know how it works, because what's going to happen is you're not going to improve your game. And another thing, too, is whenever any little thing happens to that machine, you're going to be at the shop. That could save you money. All right. So I always hear that. I always see people coming out and they're saying, oh, don't touch the tension knobs. Don't do this. Don't do that. Well, you know what? You really need to learn the machine. You really need to learn the machine. Don't be afraid of it. And I hear that all the time. People are like, oh, Jeanette, the machine is still in the box. Why is it in the box? You just spent all this money on the machine. What are we doing with the box? Are we looking at the box? Are we gonna, what is it? Why is it not outside the box? Okay. What are we doing? Hello. You spent money. Okay. You spent money for a reason, because you want to use the machine. Okay. Oh, well, Jeanette, I'm afraid to break it. Hello. All right. So you get it fixed. And you learn that that's not what you do. And then when you got it fixed, as they're fixing it, you ask the questions, and then you learn how it works. And at the same time, you can learn how to fix it, so that the next time, if it happens again, you don't have to spend whatever money it is that you just spent, because now you know how to fix it yourself. Now you know where you can go buy the part. Okay. So a lot of times people are kind of like so afraid of their machines. Why? Why are you afraid? Okay. If this is what you want and this is what you love, then what you need to do is take both feet and dive in. Learn that machine. Love it, hug it, do whatever it is you got to do. Okay. So that was another thing. All right. So I got, what machine should I get? The threads and the stabilizers. What should I charge for this? What about the tension? Why is my bobbin showing up on the top? Why is it puckering? Why the design doesn't look right? Well, maybe you didn't test it. What weight thread should I use? What about the needle? My machine is skipping stitches. You guys have heard me say it all the time. Okay. Oh, your machine is skipping stitches. The machine, the design's not looking out right. First thing I will ask you is, did you change your needle? And then some of you guys will even come out and tell me, no. And then I say, well, when was the last time you changed your needle? A month ago. Wow. Why are we being cheap? Why are we being cheap? Okay. Needles, like it or not, you got to change them. They get dull. They get bent. Okay. You need to change your needles. I change them all the time. Can needles be a little pricey? Yeah. They can be pricey. They can be pricey. I buy them 100 at a time, and I'm changing the needles on these machines every week. Okay, so trust me, I know. Okay, but the thing is, if you don't change your needles, that's when you're gonna have problems when you're stitching out your designs. You're not gonna get good quality designs. Okay, you need a good, sharp, fresh needle. Okay, I mean, seriously, especially if you're working on designs that are very dense, you do not want dull needles. Dull needles, what they do is, think about it, the tip is not sharp anymore. So it's going to it's really going to puncture your thread, and it's going to puncture the fabric. When it does that, it makes the hole bigger. Okay, and if it makes the hole bigger, then what's going to happen is the thread's not going to look nice. You want that to look nice. Okay, so make sure you change those needles. That's, don't be cheap. Don't be cheap. And that's the other thing too. Some people come out and they say, hey, is it cheap to do embroidery? No, it is not cheap. This is not something that is for the light of the pocketbook. No, it is not. Okay. I mean, first of all, let's really break it down real quick. Okay. The machine itself, we're talking thousands. Now let's talk about stabilizers. There are so many out there. Okay. So many different brands, so many different types, so many different weights. Then you got your needles. Okay. All right. I mean, there's so many different sizes and different types of needles. Okay. So, gotta think about that. All right. Let's thread. Let's talk about thread. Okay. A lot of times people say, oh, what thread should I use? What should I use? This brand? Should I use that brand and stuff? One thing for sure, there are so many different types of brands of thread out there. Okay, you got the Madeira, you got the Florina. I wonder if I said that right. I think I said it right this time. I think it's Florina. You got your Brother Reed. You got your Sim thread. You got your nanny threads. You got your candle thread. There's a lot of them. I think I've thread art is one. There's a lot of different types of threads out there. Okay. But the thing is, too, there's a lot of cheap ones out there, too. All right. Your embroidery is only going to look as good as the thread you use. So make sure that you are using thread that works well with what you do. There are certain designs that are very light. So if they're very light, it really sometimes doesn't matter if you use a thread that's a little more economical. But there are designs out there that sometimes you need top notch thread. Or if you're looking for a particular type of look, like if you want a real shiny look or you want a matted look, there's also different types like what is it, E. Marsha, you know I'm a mess. Okay. But thanks for trying to help. Okay, so there's different types of thread. So it depends on the look and also the design. Okay, if you have a certain design, you need it to be shiny and stuff like that. You may want to go with the Florinas or type of thread, which I have a whole bunch over there. Oh, Mello fell asleep on the floor, so he's in front of my threads. Yeah, I'm talking about you. Okay. So anyway, he always knows. Okay, Mello. I'm not gonna make you move. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Okay. Oh my God, look at that. He's got an attitude now. Look at him. What? All right. So anyway, going back to the thread. If you have like a light design, okay, you could get away with using economical thread, cheap. I don't want to say cheap, but they're lighter on the pocketbook. And it's okay. But there may be times when you are using a particular design and you need that design to really look nice. You need that kind of shine look. Maybe you need metallic thread, okay? Because there's also metallic thread. Metallic thread can get very expensive as well. So it depends on what it is that you're doing. But just be aware of the different types of threads out there, the different types of texture, okay? And the different weights as well, okay? Because some designs will require 60 weight thread, because you're using small fonts, or because certain parts of the design is very detailed. And if that's the case, then you're going to need 60 weight thread. You're going to need a needle that's like a 65/9. Okay. So, yeah. So it's expensive. Okay. So you got your thread, then you got your hoops. Okay. The different types of stabilizers. I think I mentioned that already. I mean, there's a lot. You got topping, you got cloud cover, you got tender touch. The hoops are galore. I have lots of hoops. I think I've spent over probably good $5,000-6,000 on hoops, because I have different sizes. And a lot of times, sometimes people say, oh, I could just buy one size, and I could use that hoop for everything. No, it doesn't work that way. Okay. You have to learn what size hoop to use for what design, because what a hoop does is it holds your fabric. Okay. And you need it, the better you hoop your garment, the nicer the surface is going to be, so that it can be embroidered. Okay. So you really have to pay attention to your hoop size when you are hooping, and selecting your hoop and stuff. And maybe what I'll do is I'll do a video on that to talk more detailed about what hoop you should use for what design, so that you can get that better embroidery and stuff. So I'll probably do a video on that, because I do get a lot of people that come out and say, well, I'll just get the big hoop and I'm good to go for everything. That's not true. Because sometimes, like I said, sometimes not all the designs are going to work with that hoop. Okay, it might look a little tacky. And then at the same time, sometimes you're not going to be able to hoop your garment. Sometimes the garment, you need a particular size hoop for that particular product that you're trying to hoop. Okay, sometimes you need fast frames. I have fast frames also. I got magnetic hoops, I got the regular hoops and stuff. So there's a lot of things that you have to think about. So a lot of times people say, oh, is embroidery cheap? No. And because embroidery is not cheap, guess what, you have to think about that when you're talking about pricing your items. Okay, you got to make sure you price those items right. All right, because that is a lot of material, a lot of supplies that you are investing in. You got to try to make that money back. All right, so think about that. The other thing, this is one that I get a lot, especially for people that are just starting out. They go, is it easy? Is embroidery easy? Well, anybody can get a machine and anybody can try it. Is it easy? I That could kind of be a trick question, because for me it kind of is, but the thing is, I've been doing it for a very long time. So because I have been doing it for a long time, I know kind of exactly what to do with what, right? I can look at something, a customer can bring me something, and I can look at a shirt, and right away I could tell you I have to double the tearaway stable, the cutaway is, I would look at it and go, cutaway stabilizer, I need to double it. I could look at a design and go, okay, this is, this will require that. I need this type of needle. I need this type of thread. Um, it kind of comes in a way naturally to me, because I have been doing it for so long. So when somebody comes in and tells me, hey, is it easy to learn? It's going to take time to learn. I think that's the best way to answer that. Okay. It's not something that you're going to pick up like that. Okay. Because you have to learn about so many different things and what they're used for. And then as you start to embroider, experience is going to have to kick in. And when the experience kicks in, that's when you're really going to start learning from your mistakes. And that's when you're really going to start understanding how the thread works with certain fabrics and how your machine works as well. So Is it easy to learn? It's yes, it is to me, it is easy to learn, but it's not something that you're going to learn right off the bat. Okay, it's something that's going to take time and experience to learn. It take, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. Okay, then some people say, is it profitable as a business? Yes, to me, embroidery is very profitable. It's worked very well for me. I mean, it's helping me put my son through college, um, pay for his dorm. So it is very profitable, but you got to make sure that you are pricing your items correctly. Okay. And you got to know what you're doing too. All right. Because this is the thing about, that I tell people about running an embroidery business. You got to know your stuff. You really do. You got to know your stuff. And I really recommend that people practice and learn it and then start the business. After you have mastered it, when you feel comfortable that you can tackle certain things, that's when I would say open your doors. I have seen people that just go ahead, buy the machine, and they open the doors by day one. Meanwhile, they haven't even embroidered one item yet. And then they have a customer that comes in with an item, and then next thing you know, they're like scratching their head, and they're thinking, oh, I saw this, and I can just embroider it this way. I'll just use tearaway stabilizer, and I can use the big hoop, and I'm just gonna stick it in the machine, press go, and then they get the bobbin tension is off. Then they end up with puckering. Sometimes the item is not centered correctly. They end up with all these problems, and then they're upset. And the thing that really concerns me about that situation is not that the person is upset about all these problems. What really, really, really alarms me about that is that you did not practice, and because you didn't practice, you have a customer now, and now you are struggling, right? That is the last thing you want, because what ends up happening is, first of all, that's your first time, right? Having a customer come and purchase it, right? So that's gonna be nerve-wracking too, because I remember the first time. I mean, I was kind of scared. I was like, oh shoot, wow, this is like, but the thing is I had practiced, right? And I even practiced it before doing it on the customer's item. Um, the thing that really, really, really scares me for that type of person that does something like that is that as soon as they started embroidering, and then they got that customer's order, and now they're like, scratching their head and they're struggling, is that customer is not going to go home with a very good quality product. And it is really important to really save and protect your reputation. Okay, reputation in this type of industry means everything. Okay, honestly, it really does. I have had people come to me and ask me to work on their items, all because of word of mouth. They have met someone, another small business owner, they saw my work, the customer, had talked to them about how I interact with them, how I take my orders, how I do business, and they like that. It's all about reputation. That is so important. You have to protect that. So I get very concerned when I have folks that have reached out to me because they just bought the machine, and they're learning. They're learning. But the thing is, I could tell they were not ready. They were not ready to open doors yet, because they still had a lot of practicing to do. And they'll send me a picture, and I could tell, that they took the customer's towel or blanket and they embroidered on it. And when I see that picture, I'm like, ooh, I'm like, I hope you got the Peggy Stitch eraser, because you're gonna be there for quite some time. You know what I mean? So it's uh it's 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 kind of like, oh, it's bad, you know. So it's concerning to me. So a lot of times people say, is it easy to learn, is it profitable? Yes, but the thing is, it's something that you really want to study and you want to practice it before you go to that lane. Okay, you really want to prepare yourself, because when you are getting in there, you want to go there because you want to win. Okay, so make sure that that you pace yourself, and you take your time. Okay, because when you rush, that's when you can really mess it up. Another thing that people ask is, can you run it with a small embroidery machine? Yes, you can. A lot of times, I have seen people have an embroidery business with a small flatbed machine, and they do pretty well with it. Now, the only thing is, because it is a small machine, sometimes the machine hoop is a 5x7 or 4x4, or if you have one that's a little more advanced, and you have like a bigger hoop, then you can do more things. So you're only limited to what your machine lets you do. Okay. So but is that enough? Yeah, I mean, because like I said, it depends on what it is that you're doing. If you are just embroidering baby blankets, or you're embroidering hats, hats like this, that this is not a structured hat. Or you can do structured hats on machines, on the flatbeds machines too, because I showed you guys a video on the channel on how to do that. But those things, you can run a business with a small machine, but just know that you are going to be limited in some things. Okay, you are going to be limited in some things. A lot of times people start with just a very small machine. I did. I started with the Brother SC 1900. It was a 5x7 machine. It was I paid about $1,000 for it. That was just for me to see if that was something that I really wanted to do. I was not selling at that point. I was just practicing. And then from there, I graduated and got bigger machines, okay, because I needed the bigger hoops and all that kind of stuff. And I really did want to get into starting a business. So after I got the machines, practiced on the machines. I made sure I got to know the machines, how they worked, and all that kind of stuff. And then when I felt comfortable, that's when I said, okay, now I'm going to start little by little and stuff like that. So, just make sure that, you take that baby step, and you got to make sure that you practice and stuff. That's really the thing. But if you have if that's all you can afford right now, that you just get a small flatbed machine that's 4x4, 5x7, then that's okay. I mean, lots of people started that way. It's not a big deal. You could do a lot of, I know a lady that she had a Brother SC 1900, just like mine, okay, 5x7, and her business was embroidering baby onesies. That's all she did. That was her niche. And she had some beautiful designs. She did the appliques on the baby onesies, and people loved it. And she did an Etsy shop, and I mean, I think she took down the Etsy shop because now she has like a Shopify or something like that. But that's how she made her money. I mean, she did really well. People, locally just knew her as the baby onesie lady, with the lady that does the bodysuits and stuff. And people will go to her all the time. And that's all she did. That's all she did. Now, she did a couple of baby blankets, but her thing, her specialty, was the onesies. And then I remember then she started selling the sets. Like, she would do the baby onesie, and then she would do the blanket to match. But it was, I mean, you can do it. I mean, just find your thing. And I don't know if she's graduated with bigger machines. I haven't talked to her in a while, but I know when I first was talking, when I met her and stuff, her thing was all baby onesies. That's all it was and stuff. And I think sometimes, she did a little bit of baby gowns and everything, but her whole thing was baby onesies. That's what she loved to do. So, can you do it with a small one? Yes, you can. Now, let me see what else. Okay, digitizing. I get a lot of questions about digitizing. People always come on and say, "Hey, is digitizing easy to learn?" Well, it depends who you ask. Okay, if you asking me, I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't like it. Okay, do I know digitizing? I know very little. I know enough where I can make little modifications to designs and stuff like that. Am I interested in learning how to digitize? No, it's not my thing. I don't feeling it. I don't like it. I am a machinist. I love, love, love playing around with my embroidery machine. I hate, hate getting in front of the computer and just designing and all that. I don't like. It's not my thing. I tried taking classes. I fell asleep in the classes. I didn't like them. I thought it was boring. It just wasn't my thing. I didn't feel interested in it. It just wasn't my. It wasn't for me. Now, if you're one of those people that can do both, that's awesome. I think that is really, really great because I'm sure you can save a lot of money. But me, nope, I hire. Okay. I have digitizers that I work with all the time. And what I prefer to do is just take work with the customer, give me the design. I give it to my digitizer. I let them handle the design of that. And then I do all the test stitching and I work with the customer and then I embroider the products. That is my thing. Digitizing, don't like doing it. I if I have to make small changes, I'll do that. But when it comes to the actual digitizing of a design, I'm like, no. Like I said, I took the classes. I just fell asleep. I was bored. It wasn't my thing. I just wasn't feeling it. Some people they like it. Everybody's different. But it's just not now. Is it worth it? It depends on what you want to do. I mean, I know I have a lot of friends that have embroidery businesses, and some of them do both, and some of them are like me. No, I just want to play with my machines. I'm fine with just playing with the machines. I let somebody else worry about the digitizing. So, the other question that I get, how do you care for your embroidery? Okay. Well, that's another thing too. If you're going to be embroidering, you better learn how to care for it too. Okay. And the best thing you could do is to teach your customers how to care for embroidery. Now, let me show you what I got here. I have care instructions. Okay. This is what I give my customers all the time. Okay. And in the back, okay, it has all the items that they need to think about, you know, for carrying their embroidery. Now, this is really, really important, and I'm going to tell you why. The reason why you really want to be able to tell your customers how to care for their embroidery products is because the last thing you want is for them not to care for it properly. And then what they're going to do is they're going to turn around and they're going to say, "Oh, I got this embroidered, and look at that. It's all messed up. It's messed up because you didn't wash it properly. It's messed up because you didn't dry it properly. You didn't know how to care for it." Okay. Because that did happen. I mean, I had a lady come to me and she wanted me to embroider her shirts. She said the person that she used before me didn't do the shirt properly. I asked her to bring the shirt. When she brought the shirt to me, I looked at the stabilizer. They used 2 sheets of stabilizer, exactly what I would have done. I even looked at the quality of the stitches. It was perfect. However, it was a little wrinkled. Okay. The reason why it was wrinkled is because they didn't wash and dry it properly. So when I brought it up here, and then I went and I took a piece of fabric and I put it on top of the embroidered item, and then I ironed it, it looked just like this. And her mouth was like, "Oh no, that looks nice." And I said, but the thing is, she was talking bad about the embroiderer. And I told her, he did a beautiful job. He did. It's just that you didn't know how to care for it. And unfortunately, what happens is a lot of times people don't know how to care for it. So what you have to do is you got to make sure you inform them of that, because the last thing you want is for you to embroider something for them and then all of a sudden they wash it or something like that, and the next thing you know, it doesn't look right, and then they're going to think that it's all you. So you want to avoid that. So what I do is I give care instructions. Okay, now some of you guys come and say, hey, what do you put on your care instructions? One thing I recommend is Google how to care for embroidered items. Okay, you're going to get a bunch of stuff. Okay, now I'll give you some of the stuff. Turn the item inside out before you're washing. Don't wash it with other clothing that can damage the embroidered area. Okay, like for instance, if you have a shirt and you didn't turn it inside out or something like that, and you have a bra in the dryer or the washing machine, you put it together. Well, the bras, I mean, some bras have hooks, or some clothes have hooks, right? Or and or buttons or something like that that could get caught on the thread and can pull it. Okay. So you want to make sure that customers need to know they have to make sure that when they're throwing that in the wash, that the other stuff that they have in that wash can't damage that embroidered item. Okay. You got to make sure that you're using a mild detergent. Okay. Something harsh can really damage the threading. Okay. Allow them to air dry if possible. Okay. Also, if the embroider features bright colors, a gentle wash in cold water. Okay. And if you need to iron it, you don't steam it. Okay. You don't take your iron and put it on top of the embroidery and steam it. You don't want to do that. And first of all, you don't even want to put an iron on top of the embroidery. What you want to do is you want to take a piece of fabric, another piece of fabric or some Teflon sheet or something like that, put it over the embroidery, and then you want to iron, okay? And stuff. And you don't just iron it by like taking the iron and leaving it there and then just walk away. You want to move it and stuff like that, and then you iron it flat, okay? So you want to make sure that you let your customers know how they need to care for their items. All right. That is so, so, so important, because if you don't, that can be very problematic and stuff like that. Okay, the other thing they said is, why is my machine skipping stitches? Um, well, change that needle. Okay. A lot of times what happens is you are, skipping stitches, or the embroidery design is not looking crisp. Okay, nice and crisp. A lot of times it's because you didn't change that needle, and the needle is dull. The needle's either bent, okay, or it's just damaged. So you get in the, that is the one thing that I tell people: please don't be cheap with your needles. Okay, buy them in bulk. Okay, buy them in bulk. That way you don't feel it. Buy them in bulk and make sure you change them. After 8 hours of sewing, that needle is done for. Just take it out and throw it out. Okay, or get into a routine where every week or every week and a half, if you embroider the way I do, I embroider all the time, every day. Every day these machines are on. Okay, I don't get a day off. All right, Lord knows I don't get a day off. So I'm embroidering all the time. So I have to, every Saturday morning when I wake up, okay, like tomorrow, I'll be up and I am opening both machines up. I am cleaning them out. I am changing the needles, oiling it well, and stuff like that. Make sure, just like I say, Fridays is my administration day. That's when I go into QuickBooks and I have to put in how much my expenses were for the week, how much my profit was, all my sales for the week. Every, first of the month, I have to pay my state taxes, all that kind of stuff and everything. I got a routine going with my business and stuff like that. Do the same thing with your needles. Get that routine going, because, well, I'm hot. I'm going to put the fan on. Because the thing is, If you don't change those needles, your embroidery design is not going to look good. It really isn't. So you just got to make sure that you are doing what you're supposed to be doing. Okay, get good tools too. Don't be cheap on tools. There are certain things that you can be, you can go on the cheap side, but then there are other things that you really should pay for the quality. You really should. Okay, when it comes to certain threads, make sure you do have good quality thread, because there are going to be times when you can use the cheap stuff, and there's going to be other times you can't. All right, you got to make sure you get good needles. You got to make sure you got good scissors. Okay, you got to make sure you got good solid hoops. Okay, I use the Mighty hoops. I like them. They're very strong. They work very well. I don't do those aftermarket ones. I like the Mighty hoops. You can have problems with those other ones. So, and this is my thing. I'm serious about myself. I don't have time to be messing around with problems. So I'm like, nope, I know what works for me, and that's what I stick with and stuff like that. So it is past 9. Okay, I did talk about some of the questions that I usually get. I am going to go through the chat to see if you guys have any questions for me. Okay, and and I'll answer them. I will answer them at the same time. I'll just say hi to all you guys. Oh, and I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving too. I am so sorry. I should have said something in the very beginning, and I am so sorry. Yes, yesterday was Thanksgiving. Me and Fred went to the club, and I had Thanksgiving with my friend Mary and her husband Ross. We had a really good time. Food was good. Yeah, I was a little sad because my other friend Karen, who usually meets with us, she couldn't because her husband is ill. So I was kind of like sad, because I was like telling my husband, oh God, this really sucks. But I'm hoping that he's, from what I hear, he's getting a lot better. So I'm sure, we'll be back to normal next year. I know that for sure. So, but yeah, we had a really good time, and I hope you guys did too, and stuff like that. So let me go through. And hey, Karen, how are you? I see Miss Max is over there. Hey, Nana, Faith, Cynthia. And if you guys have questions, please put them in the chat. Hey, Becky, how are you? Robin, Faith, J Love, how you doing? Hey, Jackie. Hey, Iris. Hey, Trisha. Hey, Jenny. How are you? Marlene, how you doing? And thank you so much for posting the title of that article for me earlier. Yeah, because that is a very good article, and I wish I knew where I put it so that I could hold it up for you guys. Yeah, but I think I have it in my folder in there, and I would have to go through all my paperwork and all that kind of stuff. Hey, Aaron, how are you? I see Angela. Hey, Marsha, Baby Giant, Jenny, Debbie, Tracy. After the holidays, I'll be saving for the Singer SC 1980. Oh, I never heard of that machine. And so you're gonna have to post that on our Facebook group, Iris, when you get it. Hey, Cher, how you doing? Yes, Marlene. Mello is sleeping I'm telling you, he sleeps a lot. He is a sleeper. I wish I could sleep like that. That's for sure. Marsha said, I went to the Pula Sew Expo a couple of years ago and took many different classes using different machines before I decided. There you go. That is a very, Marsha, thank you so much for posting that. That is a very good way for you to try to figure out what is the best machine for you by taking classes. And another thing too, go to the sewing stores and stuff like that. And if you're interested in a particular brand, reach out to someone that owns it. And preferably though, reach out to someone who just owns it and paid for it and uses it. Okay, because sometimes what happens is people want to sell you a machine because they're getting some kind of commission or something like that. You want an honest opinion. You honestly do. So what, and I like what Marcia did, going to the Sew Expo and then trying the different, when she took the classes, she had different machines. I remember when I went to the Sew Expo in Fredericksburg, we had the Juki serger machines, and they're different. It was very, very different. They were good machines too, don't get me wrong. I really liked the Juki machine, and I was kind of like, oh, this is a cool machine. Very different from the brothers. As you can see, I got my serger out too, because I've been working on my serger today as I was embroidering and all that stuff. So yeah, but that is a very, very good idea, Marcia. Thank you so much for putting that on there. And yes, and she brought up a very good point there too. Okay. Here's another one that she says, you got to figure out what is user friendly for you. Everyone's brains work different, and that is true. And the thing is, every machine has a different type of functionality. And some are more user friendly than others, like she said. It's kind of like the same thing with embroidery software. And that's another question that I get a lot now that I'm thinking about it. Some people say, do you need embroidery software? Eventually, you're going to need it. Yes, you are. And there are a lot of different embroidery softwares out there. And the same thing, like you picking an embroidery machine, you're going to have to go through the same process as to picking the best embroidery software for you. Because like Marcia says right here, it's user friendly. Okay. So you have to make sure that whatever software you're using, that it's a software that you understand and that you can use. You don't want to be spending money and then you don't know how to use it. And so, and Marlene says she got her brother 10 needles used from a local fabric store before I bought the SC1900. And that's another thing too. You don't have to buy new. Just like you don't have to buy a new car, you could buy a used car. You could actually go to sewing shops and tell them, hey, I'm interested in purchasing an embroidery machine. Can I leave my name and number just in case someone wants to sell, or you heard of someone that wants to sell their machine? You can do that. Just like Marlene did and stuff. Hey Terry, how are you? Hey Simone, how you doing, girl? Happy Thanksgiving to you too. Hey Deborah, Iris, how you doing? Hey Miss Max. Oh yes, here it is. Another one. This is very, very important. And this is something that if you watch my videos where I talk about finding the best embroidery machine, she's right. If you don't have the support for the machine that you bring home, I don't know what to tell you. You don't know what to tell you. I hope it works out. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Whatever you pick, you got to make sure that you're going to have good support. And this is the other thing too. You better ask how much that support is going to cost. Everything in the beginning is free. Trust me. Everybody always says, oh, support is free. Support is free. You don't have to pay. Don't worry about it. We got you. Okay. Well, this is the thing. Do you have me 6 or 5 or 10 years from now? Are you going to offer me free support by then? You're going to end up finding out that some of these companies may not. And if they don't, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, that if they don't, because you know what, you can't blame these companies, okay? Not everybody can never give everything for free, okay? Because I mean, shoot, they're in to make money too, okay? You got to think about that. But ask, okay, so when the period of the free ends, how much does it cost whenever I need support? What's the process? How much do you charge per phone call? What if I need a technician to come to the house to fix my machine? How much is that going to cost? Okay? How much is the maintenance going to cost? Or you got to ask these questions, because this is the thing. You've already spent like a good amount of money on this machine, okay? Because depending on the machine that you get, I mean, like I said, machines could cost as much as $8,000 to $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, okay? So you need to know that when you got, how much is this going to cost later on? Because it's the same thing like when you buy a car, right? When you buy the car, you get, I don't know, they give you, oh, it's free warranty for, I don't know, whatever now. I don't know, I haven't bought a car in so long. For so many years, so many miles, right? So what happens when you reach the so many years, so many miles on the embroidery machine? Then what? What type of support are you going to be able to get? And another good question too, since Miss Max mentioned about support. You know, cause companies make new embroidery machines all the time, right? They have the new versions that come out. Do you still support the version that you had before? How many years before you stop supporting a particular machine? Okay? Because you may not want to upgrade. The machine you got right now works fine. But then something happened, a part broke or something like that, and you need that support. 10 years from now, are you going to be able to fix that embroidery machine for me? And and what's the process and all that kind of stuff. So make sure you ask that, because like Miss Max said, support is big. It's big. Okay. You may not think that in the beginning because everything is so spanking new. Okay. There's not even any dust on the machine. But the moment that the years start passing by and something happens, you can come out being like, I don't know. I think I made a mistake. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I hope not. But if you ask that question up front, then you're good. Then you're good. Okay, you're gonna be fine. Thank you, Miss Max, for stating that and stuff. Hey Denise, how are you? Um, hey Judy, how are you doing? Hey Robin. And this is the guide, guys. This is the guide. Please Google this, what Marlene had put in, because she typed it correctly. It's Fabric 101 Stabilizer and Design Guide. If you Google that, and I believe it's from embroiderydesigns.com, it's a very, very good article. I have it printed out, and I usually keep it right here. And I moved it because I went to, what happened was I met with the customer. They had a particular fabric, and I had to look it up. So I got a feeling that the article's downstairs. I should maybe print out two, so and keep one downstairs and one up. But it's a very, very good article. It'll tell you exactly the type of fabric, needle, stabilizer that you need. Okay, it's a very good place to start as you're starting to plan your project. It's a very good starting point. Okay, so thank you so much, Marlene, for putting that down. I really appreciate that and stuff. Hey Joanne, how are you? Oh yes, and if you like today's video, please give me a thumbs up. I really, really would appreciate that. Hey Sarah, how are you? Let's see. If you don't test, let's see. If you don't test, you lose a lot more thread. Yes, and that's the other thing. But you know what's funny is people think they lose thread when they do the testing. And to me, that's a good lose, okay? Because that means that you're sure about what you are embroidering. Okay. So you don't want to, I mean, the last thing you want to do is mess up your product. That's my whole thing. Okay. You don't want to take a very good shirt, put it in the machine, and then it comes out all crappy. And then guess what? Now you're throwing out that shirt. If you can't get the stitches off, then you're gonna throw it out. And then the other thing too, it's very time consuming to remove embroidery stitches because you're talking about thousands and thousands of stitches. Okay, I have made boo-boos where I had to remove the stitches, okay? And sometimes it takes 2 days. And this is not something, it's not easy to do. You have to be very, very careful because you don't want to cut the fabric. Once you cut the fabric, you're done. Okay, so, you want to test your designs. You really do. You really do. Hey Joanne, how are you? Hey Mary, I see pretty eyes. How are you? Um, hey Angela Stitches. Oh, Angela's, I'll never miss a Friday. Never miss a Friday. If I miss a Friday, that means something serious happened. Okay, and you guys know I will always tell you guys. Hey Rita, how are you? Hey J Love. Let's see. Oh, Marcia said, actually, I think I know more than I think I know. I'm a chicken, but I never have puckering or stick, skip stitches or any negatives. That because you're changing your needle. And Marnie says she's overdue for maintenance. My dealer says that he has to take my 10 needles. I want him to come over. We'll make it a priority to get it done. Yes, make sure you do that. Your machine should be maintained when you're for it's 500 hours of trip time. Okay, if you look on your machine, you're gonna have two numbers. You're gonna have a total time and you're gonna have a trip time. Every time you take your embroidery machine to get maintained, that trip time gets set back to 0. The total time is the total time that the embroidery machine has been stitching for its lifetime. Okay, that's what the total time is since birth. Okay, since you brought that baby home and you've been embroidering, that's the total time that that your machine. Trip time is the one for maintenance. If you have 500 or more, that means that it's time for you to get maintenance on that done on that machine. Your trip, anytime you're over 500 hours of trip time, take it to get it maintained. And then once they do the maintenance and stuff, you'll see that the trip time should be set back to 0. And make sure that they know that, because sometimes they'll make an error and they'll forget to reset it. And if that's the case, I mean, you don't have to get all bent out of shape out of it. But what I do, because that happened once, I think Justin forgot to set it. And when I called him, he said, just write it down, write down the number, and then add 500, and then you'll know that when your trip time hits that number, I'll come back out. And then the other time he came back out, he just reset it to 0. So now, I know. So, but just something that for you guys to know, there's a total time and a trip time on your machine. Okay. So, but yeah, you want to make sure you take care of your machines too. Because remember, if you take care of your machines take care of you. It's the let's see. Do you pay for extended warranty? I do not, Marcia, because I am pretty good at maintaining my own machine. I do, however, have Justin. He if you guys need his name is Justin Lucas. He does the maintenance for embroidery machine. He doesn't just do brother. He does brother, Juki. He does other types as well. But he works in Maryland, DC, Virginia. He told me he sometimes goes out of state, but not very often. But that's what I pay for the service for that. I mean, the machines are actually pretty good. I don't really do any extended warranty. I just stayed with whatever came with the warranty of the machine. And then I just make sure that I get it maintained, and then I fix whatever I have to get fixed at that time. The only issues that I've had, trying to turn off the fan. The only issues that I've had with my machine is my needle threader broke, and I learned how to fix that. And let's see, needle threader. I think that's the only thing. And a wiper error. I had one sensor that was off, but that got corrected when he came out and he serviced the machine. He was able to correct that, so it wasn't a big deal and stuff like that. So, but Marsha, no, I didn't do the extended warranty. I don't know, I don't know if it's really worth it. And a lot of times, personally, me, I rarely do extended warranty because I always feel like they just trying to take my money. That's I always feel that way. I'm always fishy about that kind of stuff. So, but no, I don't do the extended one. Hey Nina, Stitch and Styles, how are you? Nina says, I don't like changing needles, especially on my multi-needle machine. Nina, you better learn how to like it and stuff. Put on some music and stuff, or watch some videos or something. Well, you can't really watch the videos because you gotta watch what you're doing because you don't want to drop a needle and then lose it and you can't find it and stuff like that. But just put some music on and stuff. Do it at a downtime when you're nice and relaxed. That's what I usually do. I do it early in the morning because it's nice and quiet and stuff. And then I just get my little kit out and then I just do all the machines and then I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But you have to do it. You have to do it, Nina, because then what's gonna happen is your stuff is really gonna start to suffer and you don't want to do that. Remember, quality is everything. Okay. Um, hey Jayla, she says we are being cheap. Facebook smiling. um, yes. And that Marsha is right. You're supposed to use the smallest hoop that works for your design. That's the other thing. And a lot of people have this idea that, oh, just get the big hoop. And meanwhile, their design is this little and then their hoop is this big. And I'm like, that's not going to work. Because this is the thing, fabric can shift. And if the fabric shifts, then what happens is the design it's gonna get off. It's not, and then you can get puckering because what's happening is the you want it nice and tight. Okay. You know how when you hoop something and then you touch the fabric, it's supposed to sound like a drum. That's what you want. So and you got to make sure it's like Marsha said, you use the smallest hoop that works with your design. That way you know for sure that the fabric is nice and taut. Okay. Um and let's see, Vicky says machines, hoops, stabilizers, so expensive. Very true. And the average business able to recover their is the average business able to recover their money? I'm pricing things for 2024 to launch and I'm getting sticker shock. Vicky, it you okay. This is how it usually goes. Okay. When you are starting a business, the first couple of years you do have a loss. And I'm gonna tell you the reason is because, like you just mentioned in your comment, right? The machines, the hoops, the stabilizers, all of that is money that you are putting out on that table. Okay. So as you start to run your business and stuff and you start making money, you are recouping all those costs. Okay. And sometimes what happens is as you're recouping costs, sometimes at the same time, you are also taking that money and you're reinvesting it in your business. And sometimes you're buying more stuff, okay? Like more stabilizer or more threads or maybe some more hoops and stuff like that. Usually by year 2 or 3, you should already have everything that you need. Okay. You know, like for me, I'm already tapered off. Okay. I got all the equipment. Now occasionally I'll have to go and I'll say, okay, I'm gonna get another mighty hoop because I just need that extra. Okay. But I have all the necessaries. So when I am embroidering and making my sales, a lot of times all that is just, most of it is profit. I got to pay my taxes and all that kind of stuff and everything, but I do pretty good. Like last year I made about like 31,000 in profit, which isn't bad, but and the thing is you got to remember too, I'm not a full-time embroiderer. I made this money just working weekends and doing my Etsy shop, okay, and the local sales and stuff like that, okay. So is it profitable? Yeah. Is it a sticker shock? Absolutely, Vicky. It sure is, because this is the thing, a lot of people think that once you buy the machine, you got a hoop and you got a pack of stabilizer and a box of threads, you're good. It doesn't work like that. It really doesn't. There are so many details, okay? So I know right now you're probably like feeling some kind of way, like, you probably feel like you're walking around with a pocketbook and you got a hole at the bottom and all the money's falling out. You probably feel like that. But as time goes on and you start making those sales and everything, you're gonna recoup the money. The money does recoup. And then once you have paid off all your machines, and once you paid off everything, and then all you're doing is just buying the supplies like stabilizers, more thread. Because remember, once you buy your hoop, you're good. You don't have to buy any more hoops. Once you got your machine, you're good. You shouldn't need to buy another machine unless you want extra machines, right? um Bobbins, it's just the maintenance, shipping supplies for your products and all that kind of stuff and everything. It starts to taper off. Okay, all that big expense starts to taper off, and then it starts to pay itself off, and then next thing you know, you're just working with what you got, and you're creating your products, and you're just you're profiting. So a lot of times what happens is that people kind of get impatient because they kind of feel like they should be seeing a profit like tomorrow, okay, or today. It doesn't work like that, okay? It's a slow process, and a lot of times people aren't successful because they don't have that patience. They're not willing to put in that time. So Vicky, just hang in there, and I'm telling you, it's all gonna work out. And I know you said you're pricing things because you want to launch in 2024. At the same time that you're pricing things, make sure that you are really practicing your skills and stuff like that. Because one of the things, like I said earlier, okay, when you have your shop and you launch, right, and those products are leaving your shop, that talks about you, and you want that product to say Vicky is like fabulous. Vicky is top of the world. That she got it going on. That's the one. That's who you go to. That's the reputation you want. You want people that be like, no, that she's got it going on. You need embroidery. That's who you talk to. Okay. And make sure that you advertise locally. That is something that a lot of people don't do. They just focus on these online shops, which is okay because I do good on my own online shop too. But think of your local area, okay? If there's a Facebook group in your neighborhood and stuff, advertise there. Your church, school, small businesses and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Advertise, register it on Google, okay? That you have an embroidery local shop, so that when people that are close to you are looking for embroidery services, all they have to do is say embroidery services near me, and you're going to pop up if they're right by you. Okay, because a lot of people have found me that way, and a lot of people have also found me through word of mouth. Okay, because sometimes other business owners, they talk to each other. Okay, they talk to each other, especially around where I live. They have I think it's called a small business owners network. I've never been to any of their meetings, and it's a group of small business owners locally. But I gotta tell you, they know me. They know my name because several of those businesses that are part of that networking group, they've come to me to do their shirts, their polo shirts for their events and their companies and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it takes time, and it is a sticker shock. It is, but you have to, remember, you're investing in yourself. Okay, you are investing in your business. It will eventually come back. Okay. I have a friend that she wants to do sublimation, and she's all psyched because she just got her sublimation printer. She is ready to rock and roll. She's ready to practice and all that kind of stuff and everything. So, I mean, and she's now looking at the cost too. She's like, wow, I got the sublimation printer. Now I got to pay for the ink. Now she's gonna have to pay for blanks, and she's gonna have to pay for the paper. She's gonna, have to start figuring out how all this stuff works. I mean, it is a lot. It is a lot and stuff. But as time goes on, if you stay consistent, and the most importantly, believe in yourself. Don't ever lose confidence. You're gonna make mistakes. Absolutely, you're gonna make mistakes. We all make mistakes. Big deal. Okay, make the mistake, learn from it, keep going. Just that's, just, but it'll happen. It will all happen. Okay. And stuff. But good for you. I'm proud of you. Very proud of you. Hey, Ozzy, how you doing? Hey, Robin, how you doing? And Iris said, I made a mistake. Oh, it's not the 1980. It's the SC 19180. That's the machine that I want. I have never heard of that machine. I have to look at that. I'm sure it's probably a new one now. um, yeah, so that's the one. That's the one that she wants. And Ozzy said, when I first purchased my multi-unit machine, it took me few weeks to learn the machine and practice using my own shirts, towels, and different garments before I ventured to embroider for clients. And he's right. You have to practice. And in one of my embroidery happy hour um, times, I talked to you guys about setting some money aside for research. At my job, in IT, they say research and development, right? Well, for us in embroidery, it's practice. Okay, you have to. What I would do, like Ozzy said, go buy your own shirts, towels, just like he did, like just like he's saying right here. Okay, where he bought his own stuff. Go out there. You know what's the best thing to do too? Like Ozzy, he said he bought a couple of things. Do things and embroider them as gifts for your friends and your family. Christmas is coming up. What a perfect time. What a perfect time. Okay. Go get some bath towels. Go get some shirts. Go get a whole bunch of different stuff. Practice your embroidery and then give them as gifts. That is the best thing. Okay. That way you are practicing your skill and you're learning and everything like that. And then before you know it, when you are ready to venture out, just like Ozzy did, then you could go ahead and you can meet with customers and then you're a top notch. Because I'm telling you, it is so important. It is so important because those products talk about you. I'm telling you, they may not like physically, you don't see the mouth and everything like that, but trust me, they are calling your name. And the last thing you want is for something to look crappy. Walking around in this world with your name on it. You don't want that. You really don't want that because reputation means everything. It really, really, truly does. Um, Here, Miss Max said, I did everything wrong in the beginning, except thank goodness I didn't have customers. See? And it's, it's true. But you know what? I bet you Miss Max learned. And I bet you now, if a customer came to her, she'd be like, what you want? What you want? I got you. I got you. Because she made all the mistakes. We all make the mistakes. And let me tell you, even today, with all the customers that I have, and I got quite a few, quite a few. Let me tell you, I got more than what I should have. I gotta tell you, because I don't think I barely sleep. And it's pretty bad because I'm gonna have to somehow slow down. And I have talked to a couple of my customers and told them I might have to work on their orders after the Christmas because there's just not enough time in the day. And especially with me running the channel, and then now I have to do 65 gifts for people with the gift exchange. Or I got too much going on, so I have to be really careful about local orders right now. So right now they're kind of taking a back burner. But I gotta tell you, I'm pretty fortunate because a lot of my customers very, very understanding. They're like, no problem, gotcha. I will wait till January and stuff like that. Which I'm like, God, that's really cool because they really like what I do. But the thing is, you're still going to make mistakes. You're still going to make mistakes. Okay. I'm not saying, I don't want you guys to get it twisted and say, well, Jeanette, you said if I make all the mistakes at the beginning, I'm not going to make any mistakes in the end. No, I don't care who you are. I don't even care how much or how long you've been embroidering and stuff like that. I'll tell you right now, if anybody tells you they don't make a mistake, they are lying. Lying. Okay. They are not telling you the truth. They are not being honest. We all make mistakes, okay? There have been times when I even forgot to put the stabilizer on the machine, okay, with the product. I hooped the product without the stabilizer. Why? I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. We all make mistakes. Sometimes I've used the wrong needle. Sometimes I've used the wrong thread, the wrong color. I didn't set up the machine right. Okay. Or this one's funny. When I'll go in there and I'll put the right thread and I knot it, but I didn't pull the thread all the way. So when it started to embroider, it was embroidering on the color that was there before the right color. And then I have a mess. Okay. So everybody's gonna make mistakes. Everybody's gonna make mistakes. Okay. But the thing is, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. You know what I'm saying? But you're gonna have more confidence. So to me, it's like it's about building your confidence level. You have to do that because you want to feel good when you're working on customer products. You want to really feel good. You want to feel confident, you want to feel good. And you at the end of the day, when you collect that check and you hand them the product, you want to feel really proud of what you did. Okay. And when you see their smile and they're like, oh my God, thank you. I mean, that's what you want. Okay. That is what you want and stuff. So, Angela said Vacoma has training session to help you learn your multi-needle. Their excellent support doesn't expire. Always available. Love my machine. Yeah, everybody, all companies have their own different business module. They all do. You gotta find the one that's right for you. I know the crafty Puerto Rican also has a Racoma, and she likes hers as well. There's so many, and some people have the Brandon machines. Some people have the ZSK machines. Some people have the Happy machines. There's so many different. You just have to really find out what is the machine that's going to work for you. Okay. Some of them require an external computer, some of them don't. Some have scanning capabilities, some don't. Some work really well with hats. Some are not too great with hats and stuff. The brother machines, they work with hats, but I wish they were a little better on the hats. I mean, I can't get like really fancy machine hats. So I think if I ever get another machine, I'll probably be focused more on the hatting capability because these machines are great. They handle everything that I need, but the hat part, I'm having a struggle because I even bought a new hat hoop at the sewing and quilt show, and mm, but I don't want to say that it's the machine because I have not practiced that much. Okay. So I have to go down to the wholesalers and I need to buy probably like 30 hats and stick them in this machine and practice all different types of stuff with these hats. Okay. So, in honesty, you know, I don't want to say they're not that great with the hats. I personally have to do more hats. Okay. I didn't order for hats. They were simple hats though. So they came out great. But I wanted to do a more complicated design. And it did, the design was kind of off. Okay. So it could be a lot of several different things. It could be that I didn't hoop the hat correctly. Okay. It could be that the design needs to be modified a bit. It could also be that I didn't use stabilizer because a lot of times I don't use stabilizer with the hats, and I think you should. You should be using stabilizer, and I have it. So I'm gonna have to buy some stabilizer for the hats. And I could have hooped the thing wrong. I could have hooped it because I have two different hat drivers, two different hat hoops. They both work differently. Okay, one of them I know really well. The other one is brand new. The one that I got at the sewing quilt show is totally different. So I have to get used to hooping hats with that new one. So there's a lot of things. So it could be a user error. And most likely, I really truly think it is because I still need to get more experience on the hat. The other hat order that I did, that all those hats was a simple hat. That's all it was. It was just a word. And I'm like, that was easy for me to punch out and stuff. This one that I'm trying to do ones that are bigger and nicer, and then maybe embroider the side of the hat and the back of the hat, get them all fancier. But yeah, I'm having problems with that. But it could be that I'm doing it wrong. It could be. So I just got to figure it out and stuff like that. Let's see. Uh, Oh, and Ozzy said, "Yep." Um, Ozzy Ozzy said he started with the brother 1900, which is what I have. Paid 1100 1100. Well, yeah, 1100 for it. Made 6,000 within a year embroidering simple designs on t-shirts and towels. This is why I decided to invest in a multi-needle. See? You look at that. He made that much money using a flatbed machine. That's why, like, some people are, and that's the other thing too. See, um, some people, they think, oh, I need to get the big boy in order for me to make money. You don't. Ozzy did it, okay? And the other lady that I was telling you about, she did the baby onesies on that machine. Okay, now I think it was I don't think hers was a brother. I think hers was a Barina, but it was like this. It was just like this. Okay, small. Okay, she didn't have a big fancy machine like this or anything. Now, I mean, all she did was baby onesies, and she made a lot of money. She made a lot of money doing that. Okay. And look, Ozzy did a lot too. So is it profitable? Yes. Do you need to go big boy in order to do, make money? No. You just got to make sure you find your niche. And if you got the right tools and you know how to work that machine well, okay, which is why I say don't be afraid of the machine. Learn the functions of that machine. Learn what every button means. I'm serious. Don't just stay in your comfort zone. Learn, hey, look at this button. Never touched it before. What does it do? Press it. Let's find out. Let's learn about it. So you got to, because that's how you're going to master that machine and be very comfortable and take it to the next level and stuff. So thanks for posting that, Ozzy, because I really appreciate that, because it tells people that they can really do so much and stuff. And let me see. Marcia says, nope, digitizing, not easy to learn. You have to find a program and master. I didn't find it easy to learn. I really did. I mean, it just wasn't my thing. Some people are okay with it. It just wasn't mine and stuff. And Ozzy said the multi-needle machine was a challenge in the beginning since I didn't know one thing about multi-needle machines. The struggle was real, but I didn't give up. Now my machine works smoothly. It's a learning curve. It is a learning curve. It's like it is, because now it's not one needle, you're dealing with more. Okay. And you have to learn the machine. You got to learn the ins and outs of that machine. You got to understand it. Fixing tension on a multi-needle machine is very different from fixing tension on a single needle machine. The single machine, it's just one needle. That's all it is. But when you're on a multi-needle machine, you are fixing the tension for every single needle on that machine, for every one. So it can, for something that probably only takes you 20 minutes on a single needle flatbed, you could be there for like hours fixing the tension. If you don't know what you're doing and stuff like that, it can take a while for you to figure it out, because especially with every single needle and stuff. So yeah, but awesome. Thanks so much. Hey, cracky Puerto Rican, how you doing? Um, and like Ozzy said, well, the important is not to give up and learn the machine, specifically the upper and the lower tension. Yep. And tension is the one thing that I find that people have a lot of problems with. In the beginning, when you first get your machine, a lot of times people don't have problems with the tension because the manufacturer has already set it for you. Okay. They already set it. They already test the machine. They know it works great. So it's good for you to just go ahead and start embroidering, right? You're not going to have a problem with tension. But as time goes on, okay, your machine starts working and all that kind of stuff and everything, eventually, you're working with different materials, different fabrics, and all that kind of stuff. Tensions will need adjustments. And then what happens is, if you don't learn it, it can cost you a lot of money to keep having somebody come and fix your tension for you. So learn that machine. Really learn about those buttons and stuff. It's really important. Hey Kelly, how are you? Um, and Angela, yes, I keep a log too. And this is another tip for you guys. This is what I have. I have, because since Angela Stitches mentions this, I have my little book. Okay. Yeah. I have this. I have this little book that Miss Banks made for me. Okay. And when you open it, what I usually do is I have my little notes in it. Okay. I have little notes, and I know you probably can't see it because of glare, but all these lights. I have all these lights on me, you know. But in what I do is I mark down the date, and I make an indication of any type of issues that I have. So like what she's talking about, the little log, right? And what you do is you write down the date, what issue you had with what needle and stuff. Oh, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that, Marlene. Thank you. Um, you write down that log. Keep that diary, because what happens is when you get somebody to come and then do the maintenance for you and stuff like that, it's very easy for you to forget what happened and what was the problem that you experienced and what needle. Okay, if you only have a single needle machine, you ain't got to worry about the needle number, because I mean it's only one needle, right? But if you got multi needle machines and you got several machines, you don't know what machine and what needle had the problem. Okay, so you want to make sure you have a log. So keep little notebooks. You could get these from the dollar store. Well, this is a cover that Miss Banks got me. But if you go to the dollar store, you can get like these little composition books, okay? And if you get these little composition books, there you go with the lights again. See, you get these little things. Just keep one of these by your machine, and in there you can write down the date, and oh, I got a wiper error, or the tension was off with this needle, or this one, or the it wouldn't thread or something like that. You keep a little diary of everything that goes on, and then that way when the person comes in to service your machine, you can give them the book, and because that's what I do. I mean, Justin comes and he knows, he grabs this book because he's like, where's your book? Because he knows that's how I do it, and he knows I have it right here. He goes through it, and then he goes through my pages, and he looks to see when was the last time he came, and then he sees a whole history of all the problems that I had. And then he'll know, like, oh, she's having a wiper error and she had it on number whatever. And then he'll check the sensors. Is her sensor off, or is her needle threader? Maybe her needle threader is old and she needs a new one or something. You know what I mean? So always keep a log. Very good idea. Okay. But thank you, Angela Stitch, for putting that in there, because I totally forgot about mentioning the log. That's a really good way to do that. And then Marcia said, last year I bought a large box of magnetic bobbins for my 10 needles, and at least 50% were wounded backwards. Thank goodness my store replaced them. Wow. Oh, backwards. That's weird. Well, somebody had an off day when they were creating those bobbins. I tell you, wow. That's interesting. Never heard of that and stuff. Hey Tammy, cleaning is essential. I also thank my machine and the embroidery fairies for a job well done. I do the same thing. I talk to my babies. I do all my machines. I talk to them. I come in. I'm like, good morning. We are here to work today. Let's make some money. We got to put Cardio through college. I mean, I talk to my babies all the time. You got to care for your machines. You really do. Christian has a question. Have a question about the design size. How do you determine the size for a sweatshirt? I specifically mean the width. Well, that kind of really depends on how big the customer wants the design to be, okay? And the shirt size too. Because remember, a shirt can go all the way from size small all the way to like a 3X, okay? When it comes to if somebody wants a design that's big, right, on the chest or whatever, let's say that, it depends on what it is that they want. Okay. So a lot of times I ask the customer how do they want it. And really, if it's a shirt for you, Christian, to me, there's no rule. Now, when it comes to logos, though, let's say that you are embroidering for logos, okay? That the rule is usually 3 by 3, 3 inches by 3 inches for a left chest logo. Can you go a little bigger? You can go a little bigger. Should you? Depends. Okay. What I usually do is if you have to go a little bigger, print out the template from the embroidery software, tape it to the shirt, and let your customer look at it and make sure that they are okay with it. If they're okay with it, that's their product, and that's okay. You got to make sure that you just embroider that correctly. Okay. But I usually do logos are usually 3 inches by 3 inches. I have gone like 3.5. Um, you know, 4 inches or 5 inches. Usually, I won't go that big as long if that's going on maybe a tote bag or something like that, or if they want to put it in the middle of the chest or the back of the shirt and stuff like that. But the determination of the size for a sweatshirt, it just really depends on the customer how big they want it. Okay, now, Christian, something to think about. The bigger the design, because I don't want you to I don't. If I'm thinking that this is for a customer, okay, I don't want you to get gypped. Okay, the bigger the design, the more the thread. The more the thread, the price goes up. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, so make sure don't think, oh, okay, that would cost this much, and then next thing you know, the customer goes, oh, okay, well, I want it to be this big. No, what I'm saying, because that's a lot of thread, and the more thread, the more time it takes to embroider that thing too. Okay, that means that puppy's gonna be sitting in that machine for a longer period of time. So make sure that you account for all of that when you're setting your prices. Okay, that is one of the things that I tell people too. When customers ask you for prices, you never give it to them in front. Never. You gather all the requirements and everything like that, and then you always get back to them. You never spit out a price for the simple fact that you don't have all the requirements yet, and then something happens. Next thing you know, you already spit out a price and you're screwed. You don't want to mess yourself up. Okay. So I'm just saying, just don't do that, let me see. Cleaning and yep. What is it? So sad. Sometimes I wish I had a husband more often. I'm glad I don't. Oh my god. Marsha. Okay. Um, can you please equal out the likes? Tammy, you're so sweet. Um, do you have a separate phone number for your business? I actually use my cell phone for my business. And I actually, my cell phone is the business number. That's it. And my family could call me through here. They know when I answer the phone. Hi, Jeanette Woods from Unique Designs for You. Can I help you? My mom's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But I don't. I don't have a separate phone number. I just use my cell number. That's the only number I have, and I use that for my business as well. Let's see. Jeanette, lately I haven't been able to find the Facebook group. Does anyone else have problems with this? The Facebook group is called Embroidery Happy Hour Adventures. If you look in the video description of all of my videos, you'll see the link to the Facebook group. Okay. And you are so right. You need to know the cost of support. Yeah, because support, let me tell you, that could bite you. That can bite you, boy. That can really bite you if you know the price. Know the price, because what'll happen is and this is the other thing too that you guys got to think about. If you're running an embroidery business and your machine goes down, okay, production is stopped. That means you can't do anything. Okay, you're hosed. You can't pull out any products. your customers are going to be waiting and stuff like that. If that machine is down and then you have to wait for a long time for support, and then you find out that that support costs a lot of money and all that kind of stuff, it can really mess you up. So I am telling you, really support, like Miss Max says, know the costs up front, know what the rules are, know the game that you're playing with them. Okay, I mean, know how they work, learn their process. Oh, can you support me through the phone? Can you support me through FaceTime? Can you do it through video? If you have to send someone out, how much is that going to cost? How long is that going to take? Um, you know, what about a replacement machine or something? Whatever, okay? Because remember, you're running a business. You cannot have downtime. That's why a lot of people that have businesses, what they do is they have more than one machine. Because if one goes down, the other one can keep running, okay? Because when I got up this morning and my needle threader wasn't working on the 10 needle machine, well, guess what? This little small baby right here was hauling. She was hauling. She was working while I was fixing Big Mama. Then once Big Mama got working, then they both started working. You know what I'm saying? But it's so important. You got to make sure you have that support, and you got to make sure that you can fix these machines right away, because when you are running a business, it is so essential that you can turn these machines on when you need to. Because if not, you can really be messed up. You can mess yourself up, and you want to be able to make those deadlines. Okay, when you tell a customer, I'm going to have this order done by the weekend, you want to meet that. And customers have their own obligations also. Okay, sometimes they're depending on your products. Like, I had a customer that I was doing their golf events. Okay, the shirts for the golf event. I mean, if my machines went down and stuff like that, I mean, they still had a golf event. They weren't going to reschedule their golf event until my machine got fixed. I mean, it's like, what I'm saying? So you got to make sure. You got to make sure about that. Can you be able to start a business even though you don't know how to use a sewing machine? Chris. Okay. Um, my answer to that, well, first of all, sewing is not really the same thing as embroidery. That's different. Okay, so you don't need to know how to use a sewing machine to do embroidery. However, though, you need to know how to do embroidery. Okay, so I'm going to take it as you know nothing about sewing at all. Okay, sewing and embroidery are kind of the same thing, but it's kind of different. Okay, um, you don't have to know how to sew, because Chris, I'm gonna tell you right now, I can't even sew straight. Okay, I use a sewing guide. You know what I'm saying, for me to sew. However, though, I know embroidery. I know embroidery very, very well. My thing is that I'm thinking you probably don't know embroidery very well either. So my personal advice is to learn it. You really got to learn it, because I'm gonna tell you something, Chris. The last thing you want is to be trying something out, right? Because you didn't really like practice and stuff like that, and then you got a customer that comes and says, "Hey, Chris, I got all these polo shirts, and I want you to embroider these polo shirts for me." And the next thing you know, you don't know how to embroider them, and let's say the logos all come out crooked. Then the customer shows up, picks up their shirts, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, the logo's off. Like, you got one up here, then you got one down here, then you got one here. They're all off centered. They're crooked. They're crunched up, or it doesn't look like it laid on the fabric right, and you didn't use the right stabilizer." You don't want that. You don't want, because let me tell you, that will really shut down the doors of your business quick, because customers talk. That is it. The reputation is king. I am telling you, especially in the embroidery business. You do not want a bad reputation. So learn it, master it, and when you got that confidence and you know that your stuff is solid and is straight, That's when you start your business. But do you need to learn how to use a sewing machine? The sewing machine is a different machine than an embroidery machine. It's not the same thing. Okay. So you don't have to know a sewing machine. Forget the sewing machine. You got to learn that embroidery machine. Okay. But you still do have to know about threads and fabrics and stuff, kind of similar like if you're using a sewing machine. You still got to learn about those things. But you're going to learn, you got to learn it on the embroidery machine, not the sewing machine. Okay. So, but make sure you learn your stuff, Chris. I'm telling you, please. If you take any advice, listen to that. Learn that machine. Practice, practice, practice. Holidays are coming. All your friends, your family, and stuff like that, give them gifts. Practice, practice. And when you are solid and you know you're good, that's when you do it. That's when you do it, because you need that reputation. You really need that. It's so, so, so important. Hey Debbie, how you doing? Let's see, Miss Max. I was laughing because I do stitch out samples first, but I enter the wrong thread colors when a different design. Didn't realize it until the stitch out. Do this. Yep. See, and you make mistakes. You make mistakes. And this is the other thing too about sample stitch outs. Okay. When you do the sample stitch outs, show that to your customer. For example, here's one. Okay. I have a club that I am doing their polo shirts, right? They ordered their polo shirts and everything. This is their sample stitch out. Okay. This is what they want on their polo shirts. I think they're like a hunting group or something like that. They do hunting or something like that. So I worked with the digitizer with Fazil. We worked on this design. He did this for me. This is their logo. Okay. And I test stitched it. And this is not on the fabric that's used on the shirt. Okay. But I test stitched it to see how it came out. And these test stitches is what you show your customer. And you tell them, this is what the final product will look on your shirts. Okay. And they get to look at it. They get to touch it. They get to feel it. And let me tell you, customers look. And they look to see, is it filled in correctly? Is it stitched right? Stuff like that. This is how you do it. Okay. Same thing. Like I got another stitch out. Oh, it's downstairs. Okay. For the catering company that I got, that they bought their stuff, but I still have to work with files. I'm going to make some changes to their design. Because I told the lady, I'm not going to let you walk out of here looking all crazy, stuff like that. Because if you look crazy, I look crazy too. So, you always do your stitch outs. Stitch outs are so, so, so important. And Marlene said, I just checked it. My trip time is 456. So you still have time. You're still good, Marlene. You're still good. Once you hit over 500, that's when you got to go for the service. That's when you really got to go. And so, how often should you service? The same thing, Bass Chick. The same thing. 500 hours. Now, with my SC 1900 though, I do take it in every year. I do. But and to me, I mean, single needles aren't as bad as with the multi needles. But I would try to do every year if you can, or try to go every year and a half and stuff. But look at your trip time, because single needles have trip times too. So every 500 hours, I would say go. Because even though like with the brother, the SC 1900, it doesn't say that you require to oil it. But trust me, when you take it in to get it serviced, they oil it for you, because they oil the inside of it. Okay. They take, you would be surprised. And I strongly recommend any of you guys that take your machines in to get service, ask if you can stick around. Ask them if you can watch. They don't mind. A lot of them won't mind. Okay. And you would be surprised, because you get to see them strip it. They take the plastic, the covers off, And then you get to see the inner workings of your machine and watch what they're doing so that you can learn that machine. Okay. And I bet you, Bass, if you were to go over there and you take that single needle over there and they take that plastic off, and you're gonna see, oh shoot, look at where they're oiling. You'll be able to see inside. They actually do oil it inside. Okay. And they take a little vacuum. You know how some people, they come on, they say, don't use the air can. Don't use the air can because the lint will go right into your machine. Well, Justin was telling me don't use the air can, but he always saw my air can. So he would be like, all right, fine. And then he would go, come here, chick. Let me show you what's going on. He opened up that machine, okay? And then he told me, look at the back. Yes, just like he kept telling me, when you hit the air can, the lint goes inside the arm of the machine, okay? It goes right in here. This is the arm, right? And then I would go ahead and I would hit that right here, okay? I would hit it with the air can and it goes right in, okay? It goes right here. This is the arm. That lint will travel inside. And then when he takes all this off, he takes it off, the back of the machine and everything. Guess what I saw at the back of the machine? Lint. The lint. I thought I cleaned it out, okay? Because you don't see the lint in the front anymore. But when Justin opened it up, what did you see in the back? All the lint. So I was like, oh, okay. So now I don't use the air can anymore because now I know exactly what he's talking about. So taking that opportunity to watch them do that maintenance, it helps you. It really truly does. It really does help you. So yeah. Let's see. Oh, Rita's getting her little baby. She's getting her machine. Exciting and scary at the same time. It is, but you know what? It's gonna be fine. And I don't even think you're gonna sleep because as soon as the machine comes in, you're gonna want to play with it. And so, oh my goodness, congratulations. Marcia says, I don't think Justice come to California. You know what? You never know. He might want that trip, but I don't think so. But another thing, Marcia, go to your sewing shops. Ask around. Okay. Look in the phone book and see if they, and the other thing too, sometimes you can go to the sewing shops and then ask the maintenance guy while they're doing the machine. Ask them, do you do the house calls? Sometimes they'll do it, but they charge a little extra because they actually have to go to your house. But you know what? When you are carrying these big machines, okay, it's worth every penny. It truly is. It really is. Um, let's see. I am trying to go down and see what other questions you guys may have. And oh, Margot, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I really do appreciate that. Let's see. I'm trying to go down. My tax person told me, let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions. Debbie says gross income. This way you can deduct your expenses, pay no taxes on your earnings. It'll also allow you to monetize your equipment. Yeah, make sure you talk to your tax folks, guys. You know, make sure you get to write off all your expenses. Okay. Make sure that you keep good I use QuickBooks, but make sure that you really keep track of all your expenses or your invoices, how much you spend on your machines, bobbins, supplies, shipping, all that stuff. All that stuff. And even when you meet with customers, okay, and stuff, make sure that you track all of that. Let's see. Oh, and there you go. And this is another thing that Ozzy put. I'm going to put Ozzy's comment on here. You can find YouTube videos on the machine brand you have, and you'll find training videos for thread. Yep. And that's the other thing too. I mean, YouTube has so much information out there, right? So let's say you're interested in some kind of brand, okay? Um, Google it on YouTube and see. Join Facebook. They have groups for Pacific machines. Join them. Join them and see what people are saying. Okay, what kind of problems are they having, or are they loving their machines? What are they embroidering with their machines? So that you can see what is out there. Okay, so I mean, there's just so much. There is just so much information out there. There is no reason that you cannot make a good informed decision on whatever machine it is that you choose to. Okay, I just personally don't like to push any type of machine because everybody's different. Everybody's different. Everybody wants to do different things. So my whole thing is, and this is a lot of money. This is a lot of money. Okay. We're not talking chump change here. Okay. So to me, it's like I don't ever want anyone to think that I pushed anything. My whole thing is I just want people to make the best informed decision that is right for them. That is what's important to me. Everybody's different. Um, you're welcome, Marsha. I appreciate that. Um, let's see, since COVID hit my Marsha, don't give up. Hey Edwin, how you doing? Let me see. I think you had a question. Let me see. Oh, oh, Marsha, you're welcome. Let me see. I think Edwin, you did have a question. Let me see. I'm trying to put that up there. There you go. Were you able to make enough money with your embroidery business to do it full time, make a good living? I know a lot of people that do this full time, and do make a very good living on it. I personally, Erwin, I am part time. Okay, I am part time because I only got 2 years left to retire. Okay, so I am not gonna give up a pension. Okay, I even had my coworker ask me the other day. She was like, "Why don't you just quit now?" And I'm like, "No, I got 27 and a half years in. I only got 2 years and 10 months left for me to grab my pension. Now, will I be doing this full time when I am done at my full-time job? Yes. I plan on putting in more hours, but I will tell you this: I have been making very good money for something that is just a part-time basis. Okay, I have been doing very, very well. There are people out there that do this full time, okay, that are like serious, and I'm talking about people that got like 15, 20 machines, and they run it, and then they have contracts with companies and stuff like that. There are people that do good. They do this as good. Now, the thing is too, Edwin, what's your definition of a good living though? Okay, like everyone has a different definition of what a good living is, right? Some people are like they need to be multimillionaires. Some people just want to be comfortable. Um, Me personally, I don't need, um, I just need to sustain. That's it. I'm very comfortable where I'm at, because I guess we are where we want to be. It just depends on what you want, and stuff. There have also been thoughts of renting a storefront, but the thing is, to rent a storefront has been so expensive. And I have a hard, because I thought about doing that when I retired. I have a hard time swallowing paying that much money in rent, because when I looked at one place, they wanted like $10,000 a month, and I'm like, I'm not paying you $10,000 a month. in rent. There's just no way. No, there's just, I mean, I can do this from my home, okay, and keep that $10,000 in my pocket. Because to me, I look at it as $10,000. I have to make $10,000 of a profit, and I'm putting it in someone else's pocket. I just have a hard time with that. I really do. I'm just not. I have a hard time renting. I really do. I'm not a renter. I never. I don't like it. I don't like putting my money in somebody else's pocket. So, but I think if you ran this from your home, you could do so much better than if you were to rent real estate and all that kind of stuff, and they have to pay somebody and all that crap. But yeah, there are people that do this. Now, me personally, with the amount of money that I make, um, I'm not making as much as I make at my full-time job. Okay. And the thing is, I'm too close to retirement. So there's just no way that I'm going to give up a retirement check. But there are people that do make a good living, you know. But it's not a bad side hustle. If you're looking for extra change on the side, this is not something that's pretty bad. I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, you do have a cost up front because you got to buy your machines, your supplies, and all that kind of stuff and everything. And then you got a learning curve. It's going to take time, but you do make money. You do make money. Um, let's see. Anybody else have any question? It's okay. Yes, Jackie says, is the trip time different from the stitch count? Yes. Okay. Trip time is the amount of stitches that your machine has embroidered. Okay. A stitch count. A stitch count is how many stitches are in a design. Okay. So this is a stitch count. Trip time is the machine. Okay. It's how many stitches this machine has embroidered during its lifetime. Okay. That's the total on the machine. Now, the trip time is the amount of stitches that it has embroidered from the last time that you had it serviced. Okay, so if Justin came today and serviced this machine today, the stitch count on this machine, the trip time on this machine would be 0. Okay, and then it would start counting all the stitches and everything as I start embroidering and embroidering and embroidering. Once I hit 500, and Justin comes back, services the machine, that sets the machine back to 0. Okay, but I don't know if I confused you more, Jackie. I really don't. I hope I helped you out because I was thinking about this too. But yeah, there's 2 numbers that you have on your machine. Okay, you have a total, and the total is usually that huge number. Okay, and that was for the life of that machine. This is how many stitches this machine has stitched. A trip time is only the number of stitches that have been stitched since the last time it got serviced. Hope that made that a little clearer. Okay, so let's see. And Jackie looks like she got a new machine. She got a new machine, the Novus 5200. All right. Let me see. Appreciate. Let's see. Oh, let me see. I clicked on it. It says saying I removed the group is limited to a small amount you can view. Oh, a message saying I'll remove the group is limited to a small amount who can view. I'll look into that, Tammy. Thanks for letting me know. I'm gonna look at that and stuff. But do a search. See if you could do a search, and it should be Embroidery Happy Hour Adventures. That's the name of the Facebook group. But I'll check that link to the Facebook group and see if I have that, if I can reproduce that error that you're saying. But thanks for letting me know. I'm going to take a look at that, okay? Appreciate that. Let's see, 60 weight for pocket lettering. Or can I do the whole design at 60 weight? No, Dale. Okay. All right. 60. Okay. 60 weight is thread that is used for very small fonts. Okay. I'll give you an example. All right. Let's use this. Okay. Let's use this as an example. As you can see right here, okay, and let me so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. Hold on. All right, little pointer here, so make sure you guys can see exactly. Okay, so we're gonna talk details now. Okay, Dale, we're talking details. We got a patch, right? Now I'm gonna this whole patch is done on a 40 weight thread. Okay, but let's make believe that this cheesy is like half the size, very, very small. Okay. When you are embroidering this, like right here and here, all this is all 40 weight. But if I have very small lettering, if cheesy was like half the size, very small, those letterings would be the 60 weight thread. Okay. Because the 60 weight thread is thinner thread. And what'll happen is the lettering will come out more clearer. So you're saying 60 weight for pocket lettering. Okay. If your lettering is less than half an inch, very small. Okay, if it's small lettering, then yes, you use 60 weight. All right. But when you're saying the whole design is 60 weight, sometimes you're gonna have. I have a video in my in the channel, and it's when to use 60 weight thread, something like that, 60 weight 40 thread. And what I do is in the video I show you a patch, and in some of the patch I have to use the 2 different size needles and the 2 different size threads. Okay, so you need to. So that's what I mean by you have to know what to use when. So sometimes you'll have a design, right? And then you'll have little details in that design. And sometimes those little details are so small that in order for it to come out clear, you need to use the 60 weight thread in that design. So you have to, for that portion, you have to make sure that the needle is a 65/9 with a 60 weight thread. And then the rest of the design, you can use a 75/11 needle with a 40 weight thread. I hope that clears it for you. I hope, Dale, I hope I didn't confuse you more, but yeah. Jeanette, your topics always inspire me. Thank you oh, you're welcome, Jenny. I love sharing. I don't mind sharing and helping people. I'm a state and I'm not giving up my pension. 11 months to, yeah, I'm telling you, you know how many years I put in? Shoot, I'm getting my pension. It's just like, no. Hey Marlene, how are you? And Washington, working pay school district is horrible. 20% of what I made. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's like, I remember back in the day when my mom and my dad were working, they had good pensions. Now it's like pensions is a thing of the past and stuff. Okay, so I think I have everything. Yes, perfect. Did you say yes, Dale? Yes. When you are using a 60 weight thread, you want to make sure you use a 65/9 needle. Okay. The reason is because the needle is thinner, so it works better with that 60 weight thread. And you don't, and you got to remember 75/11, 65/9 Okay, 7911 is for the thicker thread, which is the 40 weight. It's going to make bigger holes. So you want a finer hole during that portion of your design. So you want to make sure that when you're using a 60 weight thread, get a 65/9 needle, and then you're golden. Okay, and then you're golden. But I think you're good now. Okay, awesome. All right, guys. I think I went through there. Um, oh, Rita had a question. Rita said, when you use 60 weight for small letters, yes. Do you use 60 weight? The bobbin, don't worry about the bobbin. I never change the bobbin. I always use 60 weight for my bobbin, by the way. Okay. I use the magnetic bobbins for my machines. What you're concerned about, Rita, is the weight of the top thread. Okay. That's what's important. The weight on the top thread. Because that's where the design's gonna happen. Okay, the bobbin thread, that's just doing the tug of war with your top thread. Okay, but when it comes to the top thread, if you have small lettering, you want that to be the 60 weight. I use 40 weight in the bobbin to do a 0.25 letter off the cuff, and it came out great. Okay, I mean, hey, if it worked for you, good. Okay, but just be careful, because remember, you really should use the 60. And you know what, I bet you, if you use the 60 weight thread on that 1/4 inch letter, it may have even came out better. I got a feeling. Do a test to see, because I did a test, and sometimes I could get away with the 40 weight, but it's just a little thicker. And then if you use the 60 weight, you'll see that the lettering is a little thinner. It is a little more clearer and stuff. So just do a test so you can see. Um, let's see. Just renewed. Let me see. Okay, I think we are good, and I answered everybody's questions. I hope you guys liked today's topic, and I'm really glad that you guys asked me questions and I was able to help some of you guys out there a lot. So I am pretty happy with that and stuff, and I hope you guys really liked it. Yeah, so I think we are good. Okay, so guys, I hope you liked tonight's episode and stuff, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. I am trying to get to that 15,000. I think I'm getting close. And I want to see if I could reach that goal by the end of the year. We'll see. Okay, so anyway, guys, I will see you guys next Friday with another topic and stuff, and I am going to say good night. But it's not really good night. Now, as I say goodbye to you guys, I'm going to be turning these machines back on, and I got to keep on working. So I will talk to you guys later. You have a good one. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. You guys take care, and I will see you next Friday. So have a good night. See you guys. Thanks for the support.